Yeah. Hey, everyone. This is cool. I'm in a palace. I've never spoken in a palace before. I see some familiar faces. This is excellent. I've never been to Romania. I was supposed to actually speak here last year. I'm going to be doing the talk I was supposed to give last year. I unfortunately became very ill while on holiday in Ireland. And was in the middle of nowhere, and I required surgery and had to be flown all over the world, and I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, and they thought I was going to die, and guess what? I didn't die. Yeah, one person's excited. That's enough. So I submitted to speak here again, and they were more than happy to have me. So this is, unfortunately, my first time being at DefCamp, so thank you so much for having me here. We're going to be talking about, looks like this froze, it's fine. We're going to be talking about something that I hope is a lot different from the rest of what you're going to be hearing at DefCamp this week. Most of the talks here, appropriately, are going to be from experts who are very good at something and want to share that knowledge with you and get on stage and go, hey, I'm really good. Here's how me being really good can help you. And that's fantastic, and that's why we do conferences. That's why I go to conferences. What I'm going to be doing today is talking about how I'm not good at something and how that can help you. Because as I've moved up in my career in this industry and traveled around the world giving talks and meeting hundreds of thousands of people maybe, I've been seeing this growing problem, this growing mentality of I don't know, therefore I can't. Whereas I guess us old folks, I don't know. The mentality used to be, I don't know, so let me try. And this I don't know, so I can't is becoming a really big problem as I think we all know this industry is desperate for people who can do quite literally anything. And we need people who can come in and say, I don't know, so I'm going to try. And so I put together a talk here that made me, for an experience I had that made me realize this is a great example of like, I don't know, I'll give it a shot. And I was actually able to be moderately successful, as you will find out. And so I hope that this serves to be inspiration for those of us who tend to be nervous, have that deep imposter syndrome. Perhaps we're very new. Perhaps we've been doing this for 10 years and we never really got that confidence in ourselves. To see me up here, a guy who's been doing this for 12 to 15 years, I don't know, who still says, oh, I don't know how to do specifically that, but I don't know. I'll try it out. So this is who I am. I don't spend a lot of time on this slide because really, and I think a lot of people don't care. The stuff on the left is jobs that I've had over the years. This sneaker bot Blade Runner was literally a job title I had, and so I like to put that on there. We were stopping automation on the internet long before AI existed, stopping sneaker bots, PlayStation bots, those sorts of things. But this is kind of my path that I worked my way up into information security and beyond over the past. Really, I started as a network engineer in university like 20 years ago. Other things that I've done, this is kind of my favorite stuff. You'll note I don't put my job on here. I don't put where I work on here because that's not me. That's not about me. That's not who I am. If you can't figure out where I work and what I do, maybe this isn't the industry for you. I'm on LinkedIn, you can go figure it out. But I started off thinking I was going to be a pharmacy technician, because that's what a lot of the people in my family did, and I was really good at biochem, and so that was what I started doing. I ended up going to university on a scholarship as a music major. I got a scholarship for playing the flute, if you can believe this. I didn't want to make music as a career. I didn't think you could make money doing this, but it was free university, so I said, oh, I'll take it, sure. I'm not going to say no. And that ended up in me working in the computer lab at the university every night, all night, forever, and that's really what kicked off getting me here. So don't think that anything is not a potential opportunity to actually be doing what you want. I run the most well-attended hacking meetup organization in North America. It's called BurbSec. We're pushing 2,000 members right now, and I say North America, but we just opened one in Galway, Ireland, about a year ago, unrelated to me almost dying there. I'm an avid motorcyclist, and I'm an avid photographer of urban blight or abandoned buildings and architecture and infrastructure, and so that's one of the things I'm actually really excited to be doing here in Romania, is checking out a lot of the post-Soviet stuff that's kind of out in the wilderness and falling apart. It's been extremely cool. I know that's a very strange thing to say, given the cultural situation surrounding it, but I've been having a great time while I'm here, just driving all over this country. I've been here since Saturday. So that's enough of that. We've got a lot to get through, so I'm gonna rush through this. There is a lot of text. You folks may want to move up so you can see it. It's gonna be a lot smaller than this, but I'm gonna try to point it out while we're doing this. We're gonna be talking about a piece of software called Pidgin. Is anyone familiar with Pidgin? Show of hands. Yeah, cool. This is great. I love coming to Europe and talking about this because a lot of folks here know what Pidgin is. In the US, it's not really widely known, and I have to spend a lot of time on this, but I'll go through it really quickly. It was originally called GAIM, G-A-I-M, and it's been around forever. It used to ship, and I think it might still ship with a lot of Linux distributions right out of the box. It supports tons of chat networks. It used to be just Jabber and XMPP. That's kind of like where it started, and then it really bloomed from there. It runs on tons of operating systems. It is the longest running multiple service chat messenger of its kind. And really important for this talk is that it can have a lot of functionality added to it by way of third-party plugins. I will add that it is maintained by a single person, which is often the case with a lot of open source projects. It's just like one poor person who has to sit through and pick through all the PRs and pick through all the issues and figure out what to do about them and figure out how to write new code for something they've never done before with absolutely no help because nobody wants to help. This one is run by my friend Grim, or Gary. You'll see Grim mentioned a lot in the chat logs I'm about to show you, so I'd just like to put that up here. There we go. A little answer to last week's pop quiz. I think everyone did pretty well, but just so we're clear, here are two big things that we need to know as we're going into this. I got a little screen over here. I don't know why I'm going to keep doing this anyway. So we're going to be talking about two things: a software supply chain attack, and that's where an attacker attempts to compromise the dependencies of a piece of software. And that could be either dependencies inside the software itself, or perhaps inside the compiler that compiles that software together. It definitely abuses the trust of the people who are importing those dependencies and then using the final product. And then we're going to talk about social engineering. I think we all know social engineering, but I think this is the best rundown of it I've been able to come up with that fits in a nice little set of bullet points. It is the surreptitious control of a social situation. That means that the affected parties can't be aware that it's happening. Again, it abuses the trust of the situation. As the social engineer, you are taking advantage of the fact that somebody trusts you. And often if you're talking to a stranger, you have to build up that trust first in order to abuse it. And then the end goal is to manipulate those with power to force a desired outcome. Because usually if you're coming across a situation and you're trying to convince someone to do something for you, who has the power in that situation? It's the other person. And so you're trying to gain their trust and then manipulate that person who has all the power into doing something for you. And that's what we're going to see happening here today. You can play along at home. These two QR codes go to one. Let's see, the first one and you're going to get to remember this talk with me because it's from a year ago. The first one is all of the chat logs from Discord for this conversation that we have with the attacker, with the social engineer. The second one, it's going to be a little difficult to do here during the talk, but you can grab these and look at them later. The chat logs are incredible. It's like 7 pages, and look at those on your own time because you're going to be just rolling on the floor dying once you know the full story of this guy. The other one is the malware. So, heads up, it's the malware. But you can go ahead and grab that and pick through that too. So, July 1st, 2024, this guy messages every single platform that Pidgin runs support channels on. I think it was IRC, Discord, something else, probably Slack, I don't remember. Within minutes, he's on there and he dumps like a huge paragraph to each of these. And then he comes into the Discord and he goes, oh, this one's a lot more active. I wrote some messages on there, he means the other chat servers, and I got no response. He wrote them like 2 minutes ago. This is a little fun fact. His name here says win for the win, whatever that means. On Discord, you can change your handle per server, but you have a parent handle that can't be changed, and his is take the profit, which seems like a weird, sketchy thing to call yourself right out of the gate. He wants to talk to a staff member about the next steps for his Pidgin plugin. Cool, sounds good, thanks. We love when people are making plugins, they're making the software better. Let's go. And then he just lays into it. So he says, I've been using it between me and my friends for some time, and don't worry, I'm not going to read everything on Ellie's screens too. I've been using this between me and my friends for some time, and I decided to expand its user base, specifically because I was hoping others can make use of it just as me and my friends have enjoyed it. What is he doing right out of the gate here? And by the way, for a long bit of this, you're going to be on the fence about whether or not this person is malicious, suspicious, etc. And that's good. So were we. I'm going to kind of lead the witness as we go through here. So what he's doing right out of the gate, he's saying, hey, he's trumping up the value of this thing he's created. It's not just him using a thing, it's him and his friends. Me and a bunch of people use this. We think it's really great, and we enjoy it, and now we want to share it with a lot more people because it's so great. It's a screen sharing plugin for this chat server, all right? It's screen sharing. He made a custom plugin. He tested it on Debian, Fedora, Windows. That's insane that he just knows how to write for both Linux and Windows as a hobbyist. He wants to get his plugin listed on pidgin.im/plugins. This is the official plugin list on the official Pidgin website. Blah, blah, blah. 5,600 lines of code and a single C file. Anybody here who writes C knows that's absolutely insane. There's no reason to put 5,600 lines of code in a single file. Yet he did. He basically bug tested everything to the most of his ability, whatever that means. This is important. There are 2 dependencies for the plugin. libotr, and I'm going to tell you what libotr does. OTR stands for off the record. OTR is the privacy DLL for this entire system. Jabber, Pidgin, etc. relies on this to provide privacy and security so that none of the messages can be intercepted. Man-in-the-middle attacks won't work against any of these communications because of the code inside of libotr. He says he's modified it to fix some compatibility issues which occurred between Pidgin's OTR and his plugin when they're both enabled simultaneously. Does that seem weird to anybody? Sure. He's prepared installers for his plugin. He has versions of his plugin published on a website that he created not too long ago. That website is jabberplugins.net. Jabberplugins.net as a domain sounds legitimate. You know, you're using this Jabber chat server, this Jabber chat software. So if you went to a website called jabberplugins.net and you saw a bunch of Jabber plugins for this software, you would think, oh, this must be the right place to go for these sorts of things. And in fact, he did have a lot of plugins on that website. I was not able to grab a screenshot in time, but I'll tell you what was on it. It was his plugin, and then like 10 other plugins that he had just gotten from around GitHub and stuff and compiled and put on there too, assumedly to make the website look even more legitimate because he himself had only written one plugin. Again, here he is with my friends and I have a strong use for the plugin. Like he and his friends, all of his friends are using this plugin. And he feels the whole community will find it very useful too. And it's the only thing missing from your amazing messenger. He starts doing this a lot. This amazing messenger, it's so great. He starts trying to inflate the ego of the developers of this application to talk about how great the thing that they're making is. Since my plugin requires 2 dependencies, these modified things, can I provide the installers along with the plugin DLLs /SO files? Well, he wants to give everything so that it can be listed on the legitimate website. This is a screenshot of the legitimate website. You can see here what he's pushing for is to get it marked as trusted with that purple check mark. As last I checked, the only plugins on here that are marked as trusted with that purple check are by this guy, who is a personal friend of Gary's. And Gary's, or Grim, his attitude is that I'm not a reverse engineer. I'm barely a developer. I am going to mark things as trusted based on how much I personally trust them. I trust this guy, and that's it, and so that's the only thing that gets marked as trusted. Anything beyond that, I'm going to play it safe and not mark it as trusted. This guy is trying to change that. So Grim let him know to where to send everything, and this guy's an absolute chatterbox. He doesn't shut up, which begins to get suspicious. He says, "Thank you so much for all your wonderful assistance." All Grim did was give him an email address to send information to. He gave him no assistance. Right out of the gate, "Hey, do you accept Bitcoin donations? I wouldn't mind donating." And we're going to come back to that later. Grim lets him know, "Sorry, we do not accept cryptocurrency donations. We only accept cash or fiat currency." This guy asks, "Hey, how do you provide constant updates to Pidgin without some source of funding? If there's any way I can donate in the future, I'd love to help. My startup / work has been made very easy thanks to the amazing usability of this plugin." That's something we're going to come to a lot later. We're going to find out what that work is. A short time later, he pings Grim about it again. He said, "Hey, I asked about uploading this plugin. I'm doing it now." And he says, "What should I label this plugin as?" What he's doing is he's submitting a PR to the website in the GitHub. And he says, what should I label this as? "I think it should be labeled as security and privacy." Now remember, this is a screen sharing plugin. And I love Grim's response here. Is any part of sharing your screen, does that make you think of security or privacy? Is there any story you can tell yourself where you go, "Oh, screen sharing, yes, that should go into security and privacy"? I don't think so. Grim literally tells him that if that was the case, every website that's using Let's Encrypt would be secure and privacy focused, and that's just absolutely not the case at all. And I said, well, that's a fantastic response. This guy is trying to get his screen sharing plugin listed as security and privacy, again, just to legitimize it, get more people to use it for some reason. He goes on to talk about how much of a beautiful chat application Pidgin is. The libpurple, which is generally, that's the library that you use to start developing for Pidgin. It's so portable. I love developing with it. This guy goes on and on about how great everything that Grim does is. I love the little heart emojis he starts throwing in as well. Again, a few days later, is it possible to donate by crypto, though? I wish there was some way I could donate, but all my assets are tied in crypto. We find out why later. Grim tells him again, we don't do crypto. I can't afford the accountant that's necessary to make sure that I as a nonprofit, am able to convert that properly and put it in the proper place and pay the proper taxes against it. The American tax laws around cryptocurrency are, they're not complex, they're unfinished. They're vague, and a lot of folks are worried about filing something improperly and then getting a big fine from our tax revenue service. So a lot of folks say, no, we just don't, unless I can afford an accountant, which then in the US shifts the legal liability off of you onto the accountant. It says, unless I can afford an accountant, I'm not even gonna bother with this. And I can't afford an accountant, it's not happening, stop asking. This guy comes back and says, oh, Zenledger, have you heard of Zenledger? Zenledger's good, you could use them. And Grim pushes back, it's not happening. I'm trying to give you guys a short version of this. And he keeps pushing it. He offers to try and set you guys up, but he offers to set them up on Zenledger, which is like an online accounting program that lets you properly accept cryptocurrency. So here's a stranger who's coming and is like, hey, I'll set up your cryptocurrency wallet and ledger system for you, just as a favor. I'll run it for you. We're cool. And then again, later on, can you just send me your he wants to send me your XMR wallet. Like, I'm just going to send you some I'm just going to donate to you directly. And I can support you with $2,000 US a month, this guy is offering. Irrespective of the plugin. He's just on the side like, oh, whatever, yeah, we're talking about the plugin. But anyway, I love your product, and I want to give you $2,000 a month because it's so great, and I want to help you. Grim keeps pushing back and telling him, dude, no, stop. No, I'm not going to take your cryptocurrency. So then, a few days later, Grim gets an email. Oh no, this is not an email. This is through GitHub. He gets a message and it says, hey, this Pidgin OTR screen share that had been committed and listed on the website is compromised. It installs a keylogger and malware on your machine, and it uploads screenshots from your machine to specific IPs. Grim asked him, hey, is there any other plugins in there that you also see are compromised? And the guy says, no, I just this one is injecting this stuff. Grim asks, hey, how did you discover it? And this guy says, somebody contacted me to hire me and insisted that I install this messenger, Pidgin, and that extension. I got suspicious. That's fantastic. I'm glad he got suspicious. At first, I didn't notice anything, but then he started looking at his network connections, saw there's an executable connecting to some random IPs, blah, 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 thought it was weird, looked into it, it's compromised. And he let Grim know through GitHub. Grim comes back, starts talking to this guy. The guy acts completely shocked and appalled over the accusation. Like, oh, this is not me. More of this nice guy rhetoric. Dude, why would I do anything like that? Your product is so great. All I'm trying to do here is help people. I'm not trying to put malware on people's machines. That's insane. I don't even know how I would do that. Then he runs it through VirusTotal, and he's like, look, VirusTotal says it's clean, so it's got to be perfectly clean, right? He literally starts begging. Again, this is all in those chat logs. I think I show the QR codes again later. He starts begging to know what he can do to be relisted on the website. He offers to open source the code, which is something that Grim had been asking him to do since the very first day. Let me see the code. And he's like, oh, I can give you the code. And then it takes him days to provide this code. He wants to first set up his own, he doesn't want to use GitHub or GitLab because he doesn't trust him, and he ends up setting up his own thing that he wants to host on his own server, which is fine, whatever. When he could have just emailed the source code. It's not that big. He makes it a massive ordeal. He's trying to get everyone else to make accounts on this repo that he set up that he's running on his own server, which is also suspicious. And then Grim tells him, hey, your behavior is throwing a lot of red flags. I don't like any of this. Everything looks sketchy. I just don't want to work with you. I wish Grim hadn't said that, and I'll tell you why in a second. But this is also the point at which, I'll go back to that. This is the point at which Grim came to me and he said, hey, I got a real weird problem. Because I'm sure for the past 20 minutes, you guys have been wondering where the hell's Johnny in all of this. Grim goes, hey, I got this problem. I got a really sketchy guy. I got somebody who told me that this guy's code is full of malware, and it's got keyloggers and rootkits, and I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I'm not an InfoSec guy. I'm just a C developer. All I work on is this one project. It's a hobby. It's not my day job. Can you help me, or do you know anybody who can help me? And this here is where I find a lot of people would just say, oh no, I don't know reverse engineering. Sorry, man. No, I don't know how to do that. Let me ask around. I can try to maybe find somebody, but I don't know. What I said was, I don't really know reverse engineering, but let me take a look. Because what's the worst case scenario here? The worst case is just right where he started. And maybe I made a little headway that he can use, or I can use, to feed to somebody else and go, hey, take a look, start going down this rabbit hole, or I already did this and that and there's nothing there. Maybe you can find something. And so I just started taking a look. And now I had not written C since university, which is a very long time ago. I'm a lot older than I look. I said, I don't, and he had, like I said, he had finally gotten the source code from this guy. I said, I don't know C, but I'll try. I'll take a look. I couldn't tell you what a lot of this does. Well, I probably could. But what's the first thing you do in any reverse engineering? So you're in a CTF. So you're doing the CTF here. You get a binary. What's the first thing you run that binary through to try to find something? Shout it out. Strings, right? You start looking for strings. You start looking for plain text strings that will tell you something about what's going on. I at least have the source code, so I start looking for strings. How do you look for strings in source code? It's called Control F. Most things support it. And what am I looking for? Well, I know what the accusations are. I know that it's sending screenshots to IPs, and there's a keylogger in here. I literally I just wrote some regex to look up IP addresses, to start looking up connections, socket connections. And sure enough, we find, this is making a connection. Oh, I'm going to add right here that once he provided this code, all this code does, here, I'll walk through it right now. It makes this connection out to jabberplugins.net. There isn't much in the code that does anything. All it really does is it loads up, makes this call to jabberplugins.net, which we know this guy runs, but up through Windows 10, Windows actually had multiple desktops, kind of like Linux, but they never let the end user access them. It was never something they enabled for end users to use, but it was there in the background, and somebody figured out a hack to be able to tap that. And so this would have let him remote in graphically, keyboard and mouse, to any Windows system and interact with it without the end user noticing, because he was in a totally separate desktop. So I give Grim all of this information, which is very clear, this guy is absolutely up to no good. Grim tells him, hey, blah, 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 your behavior is questionable, you're running an insecure operating system. He tells the guy, your server's full of holes, for one. The guy comes back and he tries to say that, I must have been hacked then. Somebody hacked my server and put malicious code on there. That wasn't me, it was hacked. How do I fix it? Can you tell me how to fix it? Please, let's work together on this. Because I'm here to stay. We're trying to make Pidgin good, so let's figure this out and we'll get it working. And then he says, hey, from the code you sent me, from where your code calls out to you at your Jabber plugin site that you told me you are running, so he provides some explicit mentions of all the keylogging in there. This is really where I wish he wouldn't have said anything to the guy, because as soon as he mentions a keylogger, that server went offline. Everything went down. Server gets taken down, and so at this point, if you were still thinking well, maybe this guy's telling the truth, maybe he did get hacked, and maybe he's just really, really bad or dumb or unlucky, and he's just trying to help, and we're being jerks by being suspicious of him. The second we mention keylogging, the whole server goes down. And so you can go like, all right, well, maybe he's being safe and he took the server offline. The JabberPlugins.net website disappears, of course, and then his GitHub was emptied out. He completely deleted everything out of his GitHub he didn't actually give us. This is a GitHub of his I had found by, again, picking through strings. He deletes everything out of there. And so then we go back to him, and we're like, look, you are clearly attempting to compromise people using our software. Here's all the evidence that we have. The fact that you took all this stuff offline, including deleting everything out of your GitHub, is very much more evidence that this was all you doing bad things and freaking out once we caught you. And then he starts going like, no, okay, you're right. But I'm using it to catch bad guys. Right? Yeah, I'm using it to catch criminals and people who are stealing cryptocurrency is what I'm doing. And then he starts referencing like all of these criminals that he's helped catch. And he's like, here, I'm going to send you some videos of them being arrested. And he's just like referencing cases that you can easily Google up and sending videos of people just being arrested from their homes. Like none of this proves that that's him whatsoever. But all of this rhetoric, and there's so much more in the chat logs he goes through, is where he's catching people who are doing bad things with cryptocurrency. And this is the same guy who mysteriously had tons and tons and tons and tons of cryptocurrency to the point where he was just going to throw $2,000 a month at this project just to convince this one dumb software project to let him host a malicious screen share plugin for it. And this fight goes on for a very long time. This was as January of this year. I had gone back and I checked, and the server was back. It was no longer hosting. The web dev is suspiciously missing out of there, so he wasn't hosting that anymore. I could not tell what it was hosting. It didn't seem to be hosting any websites, but it was still there on the internet. Just existing, and I thought that that was very strange. It is down now. I checked today, and it's gone again, so he could have changed his IP address, though. You know, who knows? Who knows who this guy is or what he's doing or where he's doing it at. So that's it. That's the story of how I don't know what I'm doing, and yet we were able to stop something that could have been extremely bad for he has millions of users for this piece of software. Not that everyone would use the plugin, but this was a guy who was trying to abuse the trust of the maintainer and the web network around this software to be able to infect people's computers with this malware he had written. And even though I don't know what I'm doing, we were still able to figure out what it was, stop him, and get people back to safe operating situation. So I hope that inspired you. I've been Johnny Xmas. Well, how about that QR code? That didn't work. Anyway, you can go to johnnyxmas.net if you want to find out how to contact me. Otherwise, I'm here all week. Please stop me at the conference, talk to me, say hi. I'm very friendly. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Johnny. If there's any questions from the audience,
we got time for questions. Yeah,
we do have
questions.
We do have some time for questions. Raise a hand, and our volunteers. Oh, we have a question right over there. Keep a hand up. Yep. Mike will come to you in a second.
Yeah. Wow, I can't hear that. This is such a big room. It's so cool.
Hi. You said they delisted the plugin.
Could you hold the mic closer?
They say that delisted the plugin
after
it was. Why was it listed in the first place?
Because everything looked good. He didn't list it as trusted. He just listed it as a community-provided plugin, which was part of his process. He said, okay, I'll test the plugin, and like I said, the plugin did perform as expected. It was a screen-sharing plugin, which is what it said that it was, and so it did do that, and he said, cool, it looks good. He kind of skimmed through the code, and he said, yep, this all seems fine to me. We'll go ahead and list it on the website as a community-provided plugin, and the website does even have a small disclaimer which says, these are provided by other people, not us, use at your own risk. He was trying to get it marked as trusted to further increase people wanting to use it.
Did they alter this policy afterwards?
Louder, please.
Did they alter this policy afterwards?
I didn't.
Can you still provide a binary-only plugin?
Yes, absolutely altered the policy afterwards. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. He said what he's doing is he's having the source code that's submitted reviewed by other people at least. I don't know who those other people are, but he absolutely did alter the policy. He learned a great lesson from this. So it's much more difficult to have this happen. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yep. Feel free to raise a hand for questions.
Right down there?
Oh, yes.
Right behind you.
A mic and a hat will come for the first 3 questions.
Do you have a statistics whether how many users were affected by this, or approximately?
I don't. That's a good question. I'm going to ask. I can't imagine it was very many. We're talking, it was over the course of days, like 10, 12 days. So it could not have been that many. Very few. And and only because shortly after it got listed, somebody who was asked to install it said something on GitHub. So if you see something, please say something. It actually worked.
That's all. Thanks.
Okay. One up here,
All right.
if we have time.
Yes, we have time for a question up front. Yep.
Right. So I wanted to ask you if you can provide a bit of context on Pidgin itself, since you mentioned it ships by default with a lot of Linux distribution. Is it like a software that underpins other software, like, I don't know, Discord and Teams? Because you mentioned it's like a chatting software.
No, it's a standalone application. Okay. It's just called Pidgin. Was that your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a standalone application. So if you have it, you will know that you have it. Also, all of the core code for the application itself is written by one person, and so that's all generally safe and trusted unless he decides to do something malicious, which is a whole nother problem we're seeing in supply chain attacks. I don't think he will, because I've known him for 20 years, and he's a good, nice guy, but people are only good until they're not. This malicious code came in through a third-party plugin that an end user would have to manually install. The software does not ship with any plugins by default. He streams, he's writing version 3 right now. He streams it on Twitch. You can watch him do it if you want extra verification of the code.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes,
Any
all
other
right.
questions? Feel free to raise a hand. If not...
One more here.
Oh, yes. Yes, keep a hand up. Yep.
Oh, you build in the time for questions. I see what you did. You guys are so smart.
Hi, Johnny. Thanks for the presentation. Any words of advice for people like Grim who are developers and want to collaborate with other people? What should they be cautious about?
Wow, that's a good question. It is such a tough world out there right now. Be cautious, be suspicious, especially if someone is being very forceful with you or trying to do like what this guy did, where trying to inflate your ego and make you feel like everything you're doing is great. And that's a really common social engineering tactic for people who are trying to make you like them. Make sure that you have access to the code that they are writing and that you're able to review it and see what it is. As a developer, that's going to be easy for you because you're going to more understand the code better, hopefully. Now, Grim is a developer, and he was not able to determine if this was doing something malicious, and that's why he tapped me. And so it's good to have a network, a support network of people that you can ask for help. I mentioned early on, I run a network called BurbSec, which is a lot of hackers around the US where we all try to help each. In fact, I got a lot of ideas for this just by quickly asking in our BurbSec Discord, like, hey, what would you guys do about this? Have more than you available in a trusted network, people that you personally know and trust and have worked with. And so I know as hackers, we have trouble socializing. We have trouble leaving our basements. That's why they put me down here in the basement. It's dangerous to go alone, and you really, really need to have people that you can bounce problems off of. Other developers, just like Grim did, and say like, hey, this just seems strange. Can you just look at this for me? And it might be nothing. And most of the time, it is nothing. Most of the time, it's nobody hacking you, nothing to worry about, but you should still check. But every now and then, this happens. Is that a good answer? Okay.